The new year is a great time to set financial goals for yourself. We've all made impulse buys that burst our budget. My weakness? Personal care and clothes. This year, my financial resolution is to slash my shopping bill by 50%. So how can I reach and make sure I stick to that goal?
So I think a good way to start is to track your expenses. Now, since you are very specific, you have told me that you want to cut on your clothing and skincare. By how much do you want to cut from your monthly expenses for this category? And once you have that sorted out, you can set a budget for yourself. Let's say if you are spending $1,000 now, you want to reduce maybe by $300 first. And how can you do that? Are you going to maybe keep your credit cards at home so that you don't splurge on impulse? There are also ways to maybe delete some shopping apps on your mobile phone so you do not spend on impulse. I think one very useful ways that I think that I use is to not have my payment methods linked in the shopping apps, because that makes it so easy to buy something.
My first task will be to get a firm idea of how much I spend and where I can cut my expenses. But a bigger issue for me might be FOMO, or fear of missing out. With year-round sales, there's the temptation to stock up for fear of missing out on deals. And I end up not being able to use the items in time until they expire. So, I also need to think about how and when I shop.
One way I do that for myself is to limit my shopping to a specific month. Let's say, for example, I know that let's say Black Friday is usually like a month where there are a lot of sales going on, and I would delay my shopping until then and then check out. Of course, I give myself a budget as well and to check out at that time. One way to reduce impulse buying is to shop with a plan. So it's good to actually sit on your impulse a little bit. When you find that, oh, I want to buy this, maybe wait for a few days before you actually check out or buy the item.
So you talked about spending, but what are some other financial resolutions you would advise us to think about at the start of the year?
New Year resolutions are very personal. Everyone has different priorities and their life circumstances. So I think we have to think about it on our own. When we review our finances, let's think about what we want to prioritize.
And then we want to know your personal financial resolution and if you have a roadmap set out to achieve it.
One of the priorities I have for myself this year is to increase the amount I'm investing. I'm pretty conservative, so currently I'm only investing about 10% of my net worth. The general rule of thumb for us is to invest up to 50% of our net worth. I would look to increase the amount I set aside monthly to investment so that I can bring it up to at least 20% of my net worth. I have also been cycling my cash in T-bills. With rates coming down, I'm looking to include bonds and REITs in my portfolio. And I would be using the SMART approach to help me clarify my goals and to think about how much I really need to set aside every month to all the different investments.
Using the SMART approach, I need to decide on a specific goal to focus on and one that can be measured for its success. It also needs to be achievable and realistic so that I don't end up with a resolution that is beyond reach within the time frame.
Why is it important to set financial resolutions at the start of the year?
Having a New Year resolution is essentially like a promise to ourselves on some behaviors to change or to accomplish a personal goal. What's important to us is that we set a SMART resolution and we take actionable steps or set up habits to help us move consistently towards the resolution.
Things don't always go as planned, and we often drift away from the resolution just a few months into the new year.
What are some tips on sticking through the financial resolutions that we've made at the start of the year, and how can we make them last throughout the year?
So I think one good way to remind ourselves or to track our progress is to set up check-ins with ourselves. So probably every quarter, set a reminder on your phone to tell yourself to sit down with yourself and look at how far you have progressed along the way, and if not, what are some of the steps you can take to make up for that misstep that you have, and to continue to progress towards the resolution. I think it's important not to beat ourselves up over mistakes and focus more on what we can do.
It may sound basic, but tracking my expenses is really something I have to do in order to be more aware of where my money goes.
Skincare is a necessity for me, and I don't want to change what I use for cheaper alternatives. But I know how much I need. My challenge will be fighting that fear of missing out and making sure I only buy what I can use so products don't expire before I get to them. There's more room to cut in my clothing purchases. I'm taking a long, hard look at my wardrobe to see where I have duplicate items and items that I haven't worn. Some of my clothes still have their price tags on. Taking Lynette's advice, I've set myself a budget, made a list of what I'd like to buy, and scheduled strategic times to shop to curb those impulse buys. Each step will push me closer to my goal of halving my shopping bill. But I will also remember
not to be so hard on myself if I do fall off track, because I have the entire year to achieve my financial goal.